On horses, on the hunt for a VW bus. Yes, we are. Got my two sisters with me, and we are in an undisclosed location looking for this elusive bus that's apparently in a barn out here.
Envelope full of cash.
Alright, so we got two front wheels going.
Wow! Yeah, baby.
Rat Haven.
Look at that.
Alright guys, let's get into it here. This is the SolidWorks model that I made of the front beam assemblies for the ultimate lowered bus here. As you can see, we got lots of parts going on here, lots of linkages that I had laser cut. You can see the action here of how they are going to work. The challenge in this episode is going to be how we turn this into reality. Alright guys, these are the numbers. I'm shortening the beam by about 6 1/4 inches to 28.5 inches, or about 724 millimeters, accounting for the seals and all that. So I'm basically going to take out this about 3 inches here, 3 1/8 inches out of this section here, leaving the midsection that holds the springs, leaving this part here that's holding the torsion bar. So, and then this weld is going to correspond with the ram mount that's going to go on that same spot. So I'll weld the beam, and then this will get welded over it, and it'll be super strong. So that's the plan. Alright, I got the cold saw pulled out here. This will make for some nice, easy, straight cuts. And I forgot that this beam was so packed with grease. It's like just packed in there, but I guess the owner's manual does say to just pack that beam up with grease to keep any rust and stuff from forming in there. So, but I'm kind of surprised with the wall thickness too. It's about an 1/8 inch, maybe about 4 millimeters or something. Not as thick as I thought it would be.
So I'm turning down some sleeves here to go inside the beam tubes. So they're going to just be some sleeves to help align the tubes back together. Turning it down to 56 millimeters out of a scrap piece I have of DOM tubing.
Alright guys, so alright, I got the beam cut. I just made some little sleeves. I turned down on the lathe so that putting the beam back together will be easy. And the reason why I'm not doing a new piece, a whole new, just a single front piece beam on these tubes, is I didn't want to have to mess around with the block in there and the bearing cut in the end. I really don't have a way to turn a long piece of tube like this on my lathe. That's just not long enough. So anyways, so this will get, these are press fit, so that'll get press fit into there. This one will get press fit into here, and then all my little parts go on. So this guy here is my thrust bearing here. So it's gonna have these all the set screws, which is gonna push against this, which is gonna push against this bronze bushing. Like that, pretty much to set the thrust so that it won't be moving back and forth on us. And then these are all the links for the hydraulics.
And I had this piece cut here, this long piece with these little notches in it, so that when I put all this together, it'll just notch together and I won't have to guess on the spacing. And I'm still deciding if I'm going to use this guy or not, which is your typical beam adjuster. So if you want to go lower or higher, you can move it up and down. This gets welded into the beam. So I got to decide if I'm going to use that or not, but it might be a nice little insurance policy. Alright, so I decided to go ahead and put these adjusters in as kind of a backup plan, I guess, where I could fine-tune the adjustment of the torsion springs, you know, like on this tube with these, which is normally you would do just to lower the bus or raise the bus. So anyways, I just marked that on there, and I'm going to stick this in the mill that out, and I got to drill these out and get that puck loops in there. Alright guys, so this is what you would need to do if you were installing these adjusters, is you need to drill out these 3 dimples that are holding that puck in there, and that puck is what's really holding the whole weight of the van, right? Because the springs are in there, and that's keeping those springs from spinning in there, so it holds it tight, and then the 2 ends twist, and that's your suspension. And then we're going to add this so that we can adjust that. So you got to drill out these dimples. Go a little faster. Alright, so we got the 3 dimples drilled out. You can kind of, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, I can actually see a difference in the metal on the sidewall there, so I know I went through the tube and I'm into that puck. I can see like a little bit of coloration difference, and now I'm going to try to just see if I can hammer this guy out. Almost out. Heyo! Damn, just shot that across the room. Nice gouge in the floor. Okay, so obviously if you were doing this in your beam, you'd have to do it out of the bus, but obviously you wouldn't pound this out because, well, you wouldn't be able to get it out. You wouldn't, I mean, I guess you could, but you really would have no reason to. But I thought I would clean this up a little bit, and then I'll put it back in after I mill the slot. But that's what that looks like. And it's basically the shape of your of the springs, and the springs go in there. I'm actually going to draw this up, measure this real quick, and model it so I have it for the future, because I have some other ideas on how to simply lower these buses. Alright, so I'll clean that up with the Dremel thingy, but that looks good. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and TIG weld this up. I got it all clamped and centered, and then once I get it welded, I'll go and deburr that oval out a little bit so that it's perfect onto this piece. Alright, now we'll weld it up. Do that on the rest. I don't think that's going anywhere either. Alright, so I got this sucker all ready to go. I ended up turning down that inner piece so that it's not a press fit, it's a slit fit in there now. I turned it down a couple thousandths. And I'm gonna weld this sucker back up. Alright, beam is welded. Dynasty 300 running at 120 amps. Alright, we are mocking this front beam up here. We got the adjuster in and just getting all these links lined up. We're gonna let it like kind of self-align, get everything, you know, tight and clamped. And so how this works here is I made these little temporary PVC bushings in replace of these bronze ones, so we can kind of put this together and rotate it. But basically we got this plate that's going to be on here. We're going to have these. There's a stainless steel ring that had laser cut, bronze bushing, and then these guys will press against it where we can set the thrust load, the side-to-side load. And then this goes on as like a big carrier bearing, and that's going to ride like that, and that'll ride against that bushing there. Alright, here is the lower beam. Gonna get welded together. Got that on already, all cleaned out. Got the insert in there, spinning nice. And then while I'm filming here, we got Eric over here, and we got this guy. Eric, twist that up a little bit. So like here's the action here, like that would be all the way high, and then rotate down, that'd be all the way low, and the rams go here to here. I love it. Alright, so this is the bottom tube. We're just getting mocked up here. Eric's putting some bolts in to act as the thrust for the thrust bearing there. And it's going to sit like that in the neutral position. And then like that would be all the way low, and that'll be all the way high. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This has been a long time coming. I spent about 6 months designing this front suspension thing here that we've got going. I'm really happy the way it's going together. It kind of just pieces right together, and I spent a lot of time with all the little notches and self-jigging aspects of it and stuff. And so far so good. So basically gonna finish mocking this up in the next episode, and then I can start with the sheet metal work of getting this all sheet metal back in, and go from there. Thanks for watching. Peace.